Hi everyone, my name is Natasha Prokopowich and I am a senior hospitality and tourism student here at UMass. My research is focusing on how various information sources impact college students' travel decision-making behavior. In this presentation, I will be going over the introduction, the statement of the problem and research gap, research questions, theoretical foundation, hypothesis, methodology, preliminary findings, and conclusion. I chose this topic because I am passionate about the hospitality industry and have a strong interest in marketing, specifically consumer behavior as it relates to travel. In the age of information, the means of searching for information to make informed decisions has become highly complex, especially when it comes to travel because there is a perceived high risk associated with the wrong decision. College students are a unique market because they are skilled in information communication technology and have an increased desire to travel, so I want to explore which information sources they valued most while planning their travel endeavors. So many studies have focused on the weight of information sources related to travel decision making, but there is lack of research pertaining to how college students in particular value these mediums. And the importance of these information sources have shifted over time and depends on the target market. The research questions that are guiding my research are which information sources influence college students' travel decision-making process the most, and I'll be highlighting the top 5 information sources and their relative importance. I will also be determining how this has changed over time as more information has become available to us. The theoretical foundation is this source process model in a study done in 2004 which outlines that there is a shift of importance of information sources as the travel planning process continues. The value of these sources depends on which point of the process of planning you are currently in, and I will be looking at the shift that takes place and how it changes over time. The general proposition of this research is that Web 2.0 and other user-generated content sources are the most influential when it comes to college students' decision-making for travel. Additionally, it is assumed that UGC sources like social media and travel blogs are more important at certain points of the decision-making process than others where traditional forms of media may be valued more. To collect my data, I created a survey through Qualtrics, and I included questions about the frequency of travel, how recently they have traveled, the nature of their trip, and included a 5-point Likert scale ranking the information sources. The survey is still ongoing, but as of now my sample size is 94 respondents, and I used the snowball sampling technique by asking friends to share the survey to collect data. So the independent variable in this case is the importance of information sources, while the dependent variable is the decision to travel and information needs. The information necessary may differ depending on why they are traveling or if they need more information because they haven't been to the destination before. Some possible moderating variables are the frequency of travel, the recency of travel, and certain demographic variables like age. If one travels frequently, they may need less or different information than those who don't travel as often. Also, if someone has traveled to a destination recently, then they may also need less or different information than those who haven't traveled to the destination recently and aren't up to date on what it has to offer. As mentioned, my data collection is still ongoing, but these are the preliminary findings. The majority of students who took my survey are seniors who have traveled 4 more times in the past few years, followed by juniors who have traveled more than 4 times in the past few years. So we can see that they're frequent travelers, so this may impact which information sources they value. I also looked at the destination of travel because that also may affect information needs because, again, they may not be as familiar with the destination. So we can see here that 70% of travel was done domestically while about 40% was done internationally. When analyzing the data, I ran a paired sample t-test and highlighted the top 5 information sources by mean score, which are highlighted here. And for reference, this is based on a scale from 1 to 5, so 1 being not at all important and 5 being very important. So we can see that the top most valued information source is friends and family, with a mean score of 4.15 before the trip and 4.05 during the trip. This is followed by prior knowledge and experience, which has a mean score of 3.92 before the trip and 3.81 during the trip. Next is review websites, which has a mean of 3.48 before the trip and 3.33 during the trip. Next is restaurant websites with a mean score of 3.27 before the trip and a mean score of 3.54 during the trip. Lastly, it is hotel websites with a mean score of 3.14 before the trip and a mean score of 2.73 during the trip. So we can see here that friends and family are actually more valued than user-generated content sources, and so is prior knowledge and experience. So this kind of can be categorized into word of mouth, right? So that is important to consider. And then the next ones are review websites, restaurant websites, and hotel websites. So they are looking for those Web 1.0 sources that are, made by the brand or the company. So in conclusion, the most valued information source both before and during the trip is friends and family, followed by prior knowledge and experience. Then it's review websites, restaurant websites, and hotel websites. The findings of this research will contribute to the general body of knowledge on this subject and will provide practical implications for the hospitality industry to understand where college students retrieve information from while planning their travel endeavors to target them more effectively. Thank you for listening.